Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being a part of the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, this would be nothing. I mean, seriously, it would be nothing. And I can't thank you guys enough for all of the subscriptions, all of the comments, and all of you being a part of the show. Because, like I said, without you guys, this would be nothing. Yanis, you're the first one in here tonight. Welcome to the show, man. I hope everybody's doing really, really good. To show you guys how much of a fan that Jobu is, we used to have a person who used to say that I was just a bandwagon fan. You'll notice Jobu was actually at Philadelphia Eagles training camp, sneaking through the place, wearing Dallas Cowboy gear. Now, if that's not a Dallas Cowboy fan, I don't know what possibly is. So I hope everybody's doing great tonight. And we got a lot to get to as soon as I can escape out of this. Okay. There we go. Okay, so it is Monday night. Thank everybody for joining us here. We've got a lot of stuff going on with the Dallas Cowboys. Josh McCown, he's definitely out of there. And when I heard about the contract that Josh McCown got from the New York Jets, I was like, say what? $6 million guaranteed, a $13 million contract with incentives. So for everybody that's saying that because Tony Romo is still here, we didn't sign that guy, I'm going to tell you we didn't sign that guy because he wanted too much damn cash. I mean, come on. $6 million guaranteed for Josh McCown? He couldn't bust the lineup without injury in Cleveland. $6 million. You know, that makes me want to go out there and start trying to play quarterback. Hell, Jobu, can you throw? Because the amount of money that these quarterbacks are getting is just crazy. Which brings you back around to Tony Romo. And forgive me, guys. I worked about 70 hours last week, including yesterday and things. So I'm a little bit worn out. That's actually Benet Emery right there on the board. And I'll be on his show at 9:45 Eastern time. Yeah, he signed with the Jets. $13 million contract, $6 million guaranteed. So he plays one game. He's getting $6 million. Can you believe that stuff? So we resigned Kelvin Moore. Basically a $750,000 contract, team friendly, only $650 million cap hit. So you couldn't do much better than that. At least he knows the system, but what you really hope for is that Dak Prescott doesn't get hurt. Now, I know all the Tony Romo fans out there are going to say that's because Tony Romo is coming back. Yeah, Tony Romo's coming back. Yeah. Well, what we're seeing right now is a game of chicken. The Broncos want him. The Texans want him, but now they're acting like they don't want him. I mean, do you honestly believe that they want to go into the season with those guys, with the defenses that they have, especially the Texans? The Texans have a weak division. They have a real easy shot to make it to the playoffs and hopefully stay healthy enough to make a run at the Super Bowl if they have a quarterback. And they don't have a quarterback right now. So I don't see that. Now, I see, let me give a few shout outs. J-Wad's here, Rod's here, Ernie's here, Dem Boys is here. Yanis was the first one here. How about them Cowboys? Oh, I agree with you. How about those Cowboys? Yeah. Once they traded Brock Osweiler, that all of a sudden Jerry all of a sudden started smelling the draft pick. So it was pretty much, we're not going to do that. How you doing tonight, Sarah? Bill Bones, what's up? Martell, Lewis. Should we give it? Okay, Richard Sherman. Let's go into Richard Sherman. Wow. Talked about this yesterday about Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless brought up the idea of giving up a #1 draft pick for Richard Sherman, who is 28 years old. I believe his contract is about $11 or $12 million a year. So you're going to give up that draft pick and you're going to take on that contract. I doubt that he's going to take less money to come here. for a guy who's had a bit of an injury history lately, that I'm not sure that that's the guy you want to give up a draft pick for. Because see, here's the thing. Think about it this way. We took our first round pick and our second round pick to move up to take Morris Claiborne. Morris Claiborne, some will argue, has had a good career. I wouldn't. Morris Claiborne could never stay healthy enough to make it through a training camp. This year was the first one he did. He actually came out and played well for the 7 games he played in. We took that second pick, as well as the number 1, got him, and he missed 33 games in his career out of, I think, 88 games total. Instead of picking him, could you imagine if we had gotten the linebacker from Carolina, Luke, God, last name's slipping from me. We could have gotten him in the space that we were in and still had our second round draft pick. You think we would have been better off had we had him along with Sean Lee? I think so. Richard Sherman is a diva. He's not the locker room presence that you've really built now at Dallas. He's more of a trash talker and in-your-face guy, which has kind of left the Cowboys. And yeah, that's it. Luke Kitchley, yeah. And if I mispronounce that, forgive me, because it's been a long, long week, and I'm terrible at pronunciation of names. I don't think he's going to be the best fit for us. And here's the thing. Even if he plays really, really well, he's not going to turn that defense around on his own. I still believe that it's the defense that if you're going to go balls out for somebody, it needs to be a pass rusher, not a cornerback. Now, what's interesting is the Cowboys brought in Robert Blankton today, who was originally a 5th-round draft pick by the Vikings, played there for 4 years. 2014, he's a safety. He had a great season. I think he had like 106 tackles, led the team. Went to Buffalo, started 3 games, did a lot of special team work. He ended up being injured. 27 years old. The Cowboys brought him in for a look today. Might not be a bad person. Definitely somebody that could push Jeff Heath, because I'm not sure Jeff Heath is the guy you want to have starting. Now, everybody is kind of bent out of shape about our defensive backfield because they look around and say, oh, my God, we lost Morris Claiborne. Well, how much did we really lose losing Morris Claiborne? Missed 9 games during the season, and when he came back for the playoffs against Green Bay, hands to the face, penalty, 15 yards, gave him a first down, got injured again, couldn't stop anybody, so you can't say that we lost a lot from him. Wilcox and Church, I'll give you those 2. Those guys were pretty solid. I would have liked to have gotten J.J. Wilcox, but the amount of money that they're asking, we just couldn't afford to pay. Brandon Carr, he's getting up there in age, never missed a game. It was consistent, but not exactly, a top flight cornerback. He was rated, I think, 42nd, 44, somewhere around in there. So you lost those guys. I understand that. But we still have Byron Jones. You can hope that Scandrick gets back to where he was. You got to remember that when you hurt your knee like you did, that's really a year-long process to really get back. And I'm not sure he was ready when he came back. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in OTAs and through the season there. Anthony Brown played really well for a rookie. You're hoping that he steps up a little bit more. And if he does, hey, you got something there. You've got Nolan Carroll. I think he was in the wrong system with Philadelphia. He might not be bad. I think he'll be serviceable, good nickel cornerback. And you have the draft. And we still have, I still say, after the draft, you're going to see a lot of veterans that are on the streets that are good veterans that are now going to be at a better price, because most of the teams that had a lot of money, with the exception of Cleveland, nobody really wants to go there, have spent a lot of that money. So they're not going to have a lot of money to spend. So what you're going to see is that first week of free agency, the price tags are up here. Now you're starting to see the prices come back down. After the draft and going into camp, you'll see the prices go down even more. So that's where the Cowboys have actually been really good at getting some decent players. It's not going to be the top flight players, but I look at it this way. They couldn't bust a grape against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs when it counts. So if I can lose with you, I can certainly lose without you. So maybe it's time for Morris Claiborne to start over someplace else. Maybe he'll have better luck, and I wish him well. Maybe it's time for Brandon Carr, because he was never going to live up to that $50 million contract, for him to get another start. And maybe it's time for us to go ahead and turn the page on these guys and start all over. We kind of did the same thing with the offensive line until we drafted Tyron Smith. We kept getting kind of some guys that had been around and things like that, kept trying to hold on and stuff to some of these guys that stayed injured. And until we said, let's start all over, you didn't see the offense take the step ahead like they did. So hopefully that's what we're going to do. I don't see Sherman coming here. I don't see the Dallas Cowboys giving up draft picks, because draft picks are gold. Draft picks are more important than anything else and any free agent you can sign. You look at a team like New England, they value picks. Every year they have about 10, 11 draft picks. And every year they're challenging for a Super Bowl. So take that note. Add Kaepernick? Are you kidding me? Really? We were just talking about locker rooms here. Okay, that would definitely be a locker room killer right there. Let's look at some of the people up here. Mr. Chips is here. Blockhead, Ryan Clark, Aguirre, Rick G, Cowboy Chris, Booze Daddy. He's always here. Lots of trolls here tonight. Okay, mommy must be busy. Oh, Kim Chancellor. Yeah, that would be great, but he's not leaving. Sven, all the way from Germany, he's on here. Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, okay. I think Crawford might get cut on second. Here's the thing, Crawford, because we've restructured his contract, basically we're taking a $10 million hit. Unfortunately, cutting him this year will basically only save us about $500,000. So I think he will probably, Donnell, I'm glad you finally made the last stream. I think he'll probably still be on the team this year. He'll probably get cut next year unless he has a bang-up season. So I think he'll still be around. Jalen Smith is definitely going to be okay. We'll see how that foot is healed. Now, what I haven't had time to, oh, God. Johnny Manziel? Really? Really? Don't we have enough drama with Zeke right now? You want to add Johnny Manziel to the mix? I haven't even heard Johnny Manziel's name pop up in a long time, and somebody finally did that. What about Revis? Oh, wow. Well, here's what I'm hearing on Darrelle Revis. First of all, Revis has a lot of miles on him. Last year, Revis was about 10 pounds overweight and really just did not look like he cared that much. Looked like he was just there to get a paycheck. They say he's willing to switch to safety. But here's the thing. I'm not sure that he's going to be a great safety. In his 10 years, he's only had 29 interceptions. And generally, he's more of a shutdown corner. Now, being a safety is different than being a corner. Basically, you're like a linebacker. You're a headhunter. You're a guy that's got to go ahead and be in center field and watch the quarterback's eyes, figure out where that ball's going, and go to that ball and level the blow, knock a guy out. I have doubts on him being safety. Actually, I've heard some coaches that have kind of doubts of him making that transition to safety. So the thought is he's really going to still be a cornerback, but he doesn't have the speed that he used to. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Will they release Tony Romo? Well, that's a good question. When I think Tony Romo, it doesn't matter. They can release him today and make him a June 1st cut. So that's not the issue. What it is we have teams, the Texans and Denver, and Jerry Jones, seeing who's going to blink first. The Cowboys, they had interest in Josh McCown, who signed a big deal with the Jets. I still am mystified how the Jets figured he's worth $6 million guaranteed on a $13 million contract. They were looking at signing him as a backup. They wouldn't have signed him for that kind of money. They re-signed Moore, so they've got somebody there that they feel that is a serviceable backup, at least at the moment. Denver and the Texans are both saying, we're in no hurry. Jerry Jones, we're in no hurry. The only person that's really getting hurt right now is Tony Romo, because Tony Romo is the one who would like to move on. You know, you see him with the video of his kids talking about a deal. You saw him, you know, a week and a half ago saying goodbye. To be in limbo is actually pretty bad, and I feel bad for the guy. He's lost his team, and here it is. The Cowboys are just basically waiting for anything they can get for him. Quite frankly, he's got to feel kind of used, although I wouldn't mind being used and making the amount of money he's made. So, yes, Nick, we are at 7,545 subs. Thank you very much for everybody who's joined in. That's been part of the show. I can't thank you guys enough. What I'm going to start transitioning to, so now that we've pretty much gone through the worst of free agency, is we're going to start looking at the draft. We're a little over a month away, so I'll start giving you who I think the Dallas Cowboys should draft, and I'll get to that over the course of this week and so on, and start bringing some videos on that. It's just been so much going on between Zeke Elliott, free agency, guys they've been bringing in, guys who've been letting go, that I wanted to focus in on that aspect of it, who I think we should keep, who we should go, and so on, before we started saying who should we draft. And there's definitely some players out there. Unfortunately, our defense needs help, and fortunately, there's a lot of players that we can get. I think we're going to be able to get some good cornerbacks. I think we're going to be able to get some good defensive linemen. So we'll have to wait and see. Am I coming to Philly? I will be reporting live from Philly at the draft. I am very, very blessed that we will be doing some stuff there, and definitely will be live streaming some stuff. We'll definitely be doing plenty of videos of things, definitely interviewing fans of things. So if anybody that's planning on being there, I will be there. Yeah, well, definitely about the whole booby gate. How do you guys feel about the whole situation with Zeke Elliott? Personally, the incidents that we're hearing out there aren't as bad as they're made out to be. Okay, again, I know I've gotten condemned by a few people, but I say that there was a whole lot of stuff that was going on there that we weren't seeing in the 10, 15-second video that was going on. Like I said, I think it was a lot of peekaboo going on. There's another woman behind there popping hers out. You know, it could have been just the booby float for all we know. I don't know. I still said it was not right for him to do that, but if it's in a situation where everybody's popping out boobs, you can kind of understand it. Not justifying it. Zeke has to understand that from here on out, for the rest of his NFL career, TMZ, fans, haters alike are going to be after him to get that video. Why? Because they're going to get paid if you get something on Zeke Elliott. I understand that. What concerns me is we've seen him in Ohio with his buddy in a club. We've seen him now in Dallas, and now we see him in Florida. Are you working out, buddy? Because OTA start in a few weeks. Football is really a year-long process. That's what really concerns me. Yes, I'm worried about him getting in trouble off the field, but are you going to be ready come next season? So I'm hoping he's working out in between the parties and things. That's what I'm kind of thinking about. Yeah, we'll definitely be doing a mock draft, at least who I think the Cowboys should go after. I'm not much for full mock drafts because they really don't mean a whole lot, because you don't know what team's really thinking. Nobody's really letting you know what they really, really want. It's just a guess, and it's just more for fun than anything else. Because if you look at the numbers of most of the draft experts, if they actually get more than 35% higher, then they've had an extremely great mock draft. So it just doesn't work out. Well, Jalen Smith has been working out. He's been doing pretty well. The nerve is not firing the way they would like, but they're basically going to move on with him as it is. He's got the drop foot, which means that the nerves are kind of giving him the limp foot. They have a special brace that basically helps to spring it back. And basically he's going to be playing with that, hoping that as he keeps working out and stuff, that it'll get stronger and it'll start to fire and work the way it is. He's able to move around real well, and we've seen him work out the stuff, although things are different when you put on the pads and you start hitting the thing. So we're going to have to see what happens. Okay, all right. So we got Joe tonight, Blooming highlights. Is Calais Campbell going to be my first? Yeah, okay, first round pick in my mock draft. Funny. I'm sorry. Everybody knew I was high on him. Thought he'd be a great addition, and you watch him have a fantastic season in Jacksonville. And I wish he were here, but he's not. So it's time to move on. Oh man, Sandman, you are right. We need to do Jobu's new mix. He now has a new drink here. He still gets his rum, coconut rum, and a little bit of blue sriracha. So that way he's got a Dallas Cowboy shot of rum. Okay. So Jobu's got his refill. I got my coffee and rum right here to keep me awake. Jeff Heath. Jeff Heath had a fantastic game. Got those 2 interceptions there in the playoffs. But I'm not sure that he is going to be an every down safety. I think the teams will find out how to pick him apart. And I'm not sure he's going to be an every down player. But that's just my personal opinion. At the moment, he's the best we've got. We've got Robert Blanton, who's in for a visit right now. Had a really good year in 2014, 106 tackles, led the Vikings that year. Played 4 years with Minnesota and then played last year in Buffalo. Got hurt last year, but he's in pretty good shape. Dear Mark Holmes, going to write you a poem. Okay, Robert, thanks for the poem. Romance, okay. Romance poem, really? Okay. We definitely, I agree with you, Andy. We definitely have to go heavy on the defense in the draft. But, Jerry Jones, if he sees a sports car or somebody out there that he likes for the offense, he'll end up going for it. Last year, I thought we would have gone heavier on the defense early, but, we did okay getting Ezekiel Elliott. So you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to fall to you. So we'll see what happens. I think we got to go to a Romo sexual poem. Okay. Andre Jackson is 28th pick. Okay. Okay. Definitely a corner or defense. Oh, well, that's preaching to the choir. We definitely need a good corner or defensive end. I'd rather see a defensive end first. With this defense being as deep as it is, it may be possible that you can move back a couple of spaces and pick up an extra pick or so and still get like a really, really good player. Is Rico Gathers progressing? That is my son's buddy, Rico Gathers. Michael, come on over here.
Thank you.
Talk to us about Rico Gathers, because I know you're in the tank for Rico. You want to see him playing.
He might get called up this year.
Well,
because you have two. We have 2 tight ends that are actually injured, and we only have Jason Witten, so he might get called up this year, and he's not costing us that much either.
Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, he can be in Antonio Gates. We'll have to wait and see.
And from what everybody else is saying, he's progressing well too.
Yeah, well, we're going to need him to progress because somehow it seems to be the curse of Jason Witten that no tight end that we've had has been
and he has Jason Witten to help him too.
Well, we definitely going to need one. I mean, Jason Witten has been fantastic forever, but
the next couple of years he's going to be retiring.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we don't have too much choice in that one because he's getting long in the tooth.
And he doesn't have all those injuries.
And you got lotion all on your forearm there, son. Okay.
Right.
Why is it really Danny McCray? Okay. Well, McCray has done a fantastic job with getting players and stuff for the Dallas Cowboys. He's beginning to get more and more credit. And you look at what has happened with the Dallas Cowboys over the last 5 years, that's all Will McCray's doings of kind of steering Jerry Jones away from the Johnny Manziels and stuff. A lot of people laughed at Tyron Smith's pick. Excuse me, not Tyron Smith. At Travis Frederick's pick because No, well, no, that's Zach Martin.
Yeah.
But Zach Martin over Johnny Manziel. Those were ones that are like, look, let's take care of the line. Let's keep Tony Romo upright and do the smart pick as opposed to the high risk ones like Johnny Manziel. Could you imagine if we had drafted Johnny Manziel? Oh my gosh, that train wreck. Or if we hadn't drafted the offensive line that we've had, we've been blessed there. The problem has been more so with our second round draft picks have had more and more of a problem sticking than anything else. Yuck. Okay. Stormtrooper, please come back, Mike. Don't leave us with this man because he beats us. Shut up, man, Stormtrooper. Okay, get away from the bad players. I agree. Yeah, could you see Johnny Manziel and Zeke right now partying together? Yeah, that would be great. Do I think Sherman? No, I don't think Sherman at this point in his career is worth the #1 pick. Sorry, just don't see it. If Lyle Collins, he is truly a road grader. If that ankle heals up well and he can stay healthy, you're right, Sam, man. He would definitely be a beast, and you wouldn't skip a beat right there. A lot of people are worried because we lost Doug Free, but as I was watching some of the tape and stuff on him, God, the amount of times that Doug Free has had a holding penalty that's brought big plays back, or has just let his man come around the edge and end up hitting Dak, that, I think we can do something better than that one. Don't get me wrong. He's been a good offensive line for a long time, and they say he's a great locker room presence. But at some point, you just don't have the skills to start eroding. Yeah, Sherman is 28, but he's got a lot of hard miles on it. And another thing you have to think about, too, when your team is good and you're in the playoffs and you make the Super Bowl runs, you're talking about 2, 3, 4 extra games on your body. You're also talking about then less time to recover in the offseason. Well, Richard Sherman pretty much every year has been to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, and to the Super Bowl. So when you look at that number 28, it's actually a lot more than that physically because your body only has so many hits. Because here's the thing. If you're out of the playoffs, you're done January 1st. By that, somewhere around New Year's, you're done with the season. You have all the way till the end of April to heal. All of a sudden, the guys that are going deep in the playoffs, the Super Bowl stuff, they're still playing all the way into February. So now you got 4 or 5 weeks less time for your body to heal before you got to go back out there. So that's one of those things that I look at Sherman and say, okay, yeah, he's only 28, but he's been a hard hitter, which means he's put a lot of extra wear and tear. He's not like Darrelle Revis, who was a shutdown guy and didn't have to make that many tackles. He's basically almost like a safety playing corner with the way he hits and stuff. So he has a lot of miles on him, and I don't see him worth the #1 pick. 3rd, 4th, yeah, sure, but I wouldn't give up a #1. #1s are gold. You don't give those up for anything. Saying you try and make that 1 into more picks. Oh, the false starts. Yeah, Mr. Sherman, you're right. Doug Free. How many games have we seen him with like 2 or 3 false starts or a hold, a couple of bad penalties that just put us back. So I think we can do that. Please mention that. Well, I hadn't heard the Patriots said that, but I've heard some different coaches say that a lot of people have concerns about Revis making the move to safety as opposed to being a cornerback. I kind of think that myself because it's kind of like being a right tackle versus a left tackle. And it sounds like, oh, yeah, you can do that. But see, everything is different. Your steps are opposite. You're lining up differently. When you get swing tackles and stuff, they're really a rare breed because it's not easy to go from one of those to the other. And I know if you haven't played football, it doesn't seem like a big deal. You're just blocking the guy in front of you. Yeah, but if you're used to people coming at you this way, you're used to making that first move with that right step. It's the same thing with being a cornerback. Being a cornerback, my job is shut down corner. I'm going to cover him wherever he goes. So I'm following him. I'm looking at his eyes. I'm looking at that step in his feet. Being a safety, now I'm looking at a quarterback trying to figure out where he's going with the ball, as well as watching the rest of the guys on the field. So now you're talking about a player whose skills have eroded, who's gotten slower, who's now going to play a position he hasn't played before where he's got to learn. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen that well where he's going to be that great of a safety. I can be completely wrong, but to me, at this point, you don't teach an old dog new tricks. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Doug Free, you're right, Yanis. Doug Free. Doug Free is now free. Doug Free equals holding is like Roy Williams' horse collar. Yeah, that's another one of those ones that we thought was going to be the real deal, and he flamed out. I actually got to meet him one time and doing a commercial shoot years ago, and he wasn't the nicest of people. I'll just leave it at that. Butler, I'm definitely going to be around a lot more this season in Dallas, going to games, as well as some of the ones here on the East Coast. I'll be at the draft. Hopefully, I'll be at training camp. Yes, Sandman, 10,000 subscribers would be great for the Jobu Sports Report. We're headed that way. We're only about 2,400, I guess, or so away. We'll get there. It would be nice to get there before the draft. That's not going to happen. And it will enable me to do some other things with the channel that I can't necessarily do with it under 10,000. Because after you get to 10,000, YouTube kind of says, okay, you're legitimate. We don't think you're going to do like dick pics and stuff like that. So then they open up some more things that you can do. But we'll get there. Brandon Green. Well, here's what we're doing right now. The new shirts are getting designed for this season. And in fact, I just got the logo for shot glasses, and I may be ordering those in like another week or so. So before the draft, well, we should actually have shot glasses. Do I rank Romo higher than Danny White? Ooh, that's a tough one. Romo has basically all of the records, partially because the game has changed from where it was back in the 70s and 80s. But Danny White did lead the team to 3 consecutive NFC Championship games. I hate to say it, but Tony Romo has never gotten past 1 playoff game win in a season and only has 2. So, I don't know, right at the moment, if we're looking at success with the team, I got to say Danny White. I'm going to probably get a lot of flack for that, but I'm going by what is the measure in football? How many rings do you have? Danny White got closer to Tony Romo 3 times. And that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, Charles Tapper, hopefully he'll get over his injury. He might make an impact. I'm hoping to see David Irving be used more, because he basically was a part-time player this season, and being able to take a step or 2 ahead. He's got a great first step, and his speed on the outside is deadly. What he needs is we need a guy. I'm not going to say his name, but we need a guy who will plug up the middle and demand that double team. And that will free up a guy like David Irving to be able to get plenty of stacks, to get quarterbacks worried about that edge and having to keep a running back in or a tight end. When you're able to do that, you're shutting down and making it easier for your cornerbacks, because there's less receivers out on routes. If you can't get a pass rush, then generally speaking, you're going to have 3, 4 wide out receivers. You have a running back who's going out in the slot. There's too many options to cover, and that's where the pass rush helps on all levels. To me, if the thing was I can get an elite pass rusher or an elite cornerback, I'd give a pass rusher every time. Like I've said over and over and over and over again, a pass rusher helps all 3 phases of your defense. Your defensive line. One good guy makes it easier for those other guys to get to the quarterback. One good guy helps keep your linebackers clean. One good guy means it's less time that your defensive backfield has to hold up. You can have a great corner back there, but if the other guys are shit, he's not making that much of an impact. They'll just throw away from him and go against the other guys. So one pass rusher, to me, you need 2 or 3 good cornerbacks. At least that's my theory. And like I said, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll that drinks blue rum. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, Tony Romo will definitely be in the Ring of Honor. The question will be is, how will the relationship be between Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys? I think it's going to blow up. I think it's going to get ugly the longer this thing goes. I don't see Tony Romo wanting to skip. Here's what the Cowboys really could do. The Cowboys could go ahead and say, you know what? We're going to hold on to him till somebody gets hurt. Sooner or later, somebody's going to be desperate for a quarterback. And that could be all the way to training camp. If you're looking out and saying, we're going to do the best thing for the team, at this point, you've already got that cap hit right now. When you cut him, you're going to get the cap savings. But sooner or later, somebody's going to need a quarterback. You do that and basically leave this guy in limbo till June. He's missed OTAs with the new team. That means he's got to go in there and try and learn the whole offense in short order. Because when you look at NFL training camps now, it's not like they used to be. It used to be years ago, I'm old. They had 6 preseason games. They were basically practicing 3 practices a day. They would have a full practice in the morning. They'd have a special teams practice around lunchtime, and then a full practice in the evening. And these were full pads, all-out practices, and they were going on for a lot longer. The way the NFL is now, you have a walkthrough in the morning, then you have a padded practice, which is really just shoulder pads in the afternoon, and you only have X number of practices that you can actually hit. You don't see them out there on the blocking sets like we used to do doing Tennessee drills. It's part of the reason why tackling sucks in the NFL, because they don't tackle anymore in practice. They don't take guys to the ground. If you've been to training camp, you've seen them. Do you see them actually really hitting? No. So the only live action they really do is actually in the game time. And come the season, once the season starts, you have 11 padded practices. And you have to use those 11 padded practices by week 11. Not a whole lot of hitting and everything going on. So if Tony Romo is put off until June 1st before he can join that team, it's not going to give him a whole lot of time to work with his receivers. There's no OTAs and stuff. He's basically getting there for the last mini camp and then training camp. It's going to screw him. It's going to screw the team that he goes to. And it could screw the relationship that you have with Tony Romo right now. It may be fuck you and the Cowboys. After all I did, busting my back, my collarbone, trying to rush back, risking my health, this is the way you're going to do me? That's where I always say, free Tony Romo. Let him go, man. Let him go. Jackie, the rumors are that he has been pretty much cleared from the event there. The NFL investigated the hell out of it after the DA had done their investigation, after the police department had done theirs. And so that situation is done. Now the question will be is, if he continues to have incident after incident, will they start looking at that and bringing some of that stuff up as well? So right now we're okay with that situation. Like I was saying about TMZ and the whole Boatgate thing, that things are made to look a lot worse than they were. Boobygate was bad, flat out. That was bad. The other nightclub in Ohio, he had nothing to do with the gun being brought in there. It was just a guy he associated with, but you get guilt by association. So from that standpoint, we're okay. Like I was saying, I worry about him more out partying in a hole is his focus on football and being the best player that he can be. That's my bigger worry than these little events in TMZ. Not free league? Okay, or not fair league with Tony Romo side. Yeah, you're right about that. Now, I do feel bad for Tony Romo, but I don't feel it so bad because he's got a lot of money and a beautiful wife and a great family. So he'll be okay. You're right. It's business, and we just try to run a business here. Well, Sandman, quite frankly, the draft can make or break any team, to be honest with you. You've always got to draft well. Sven, you're right. Why do I feel bad for him? He's made $100 million in Dallas. It's business. Coffee and rum. Oh, okay. Actually, it's coffee, rum, and Kahlua. Try that. It's actually really, really good. And that's what I've got right here. Coffee, rum, and Kahlua with some French vanilla cream in it. And it's kind of like a frappe or whatever you want to call it, but it'll keep you wide awake. And that's what I need because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, couldn't go back to sleep. Then I had to go to work. So I'm just kind of like, so if I don't quite have it tonight, forgive me because I'm just running on empty. Yeah, Moore actually, Blake, Moore actually is. He's got great size, 6'5", 255. He'll be interested to see how well he plays. I think he's a guy we can definitely do something with. TJ Watt, I'm not sure he's going to be JJ Watt, but he's another guy that, is worth a look at. Jessica Simpson in her okay. Yeah, okay. So I can see where we're going in here tonight. Cowboy Chris, you're cold, man. Yeah, Romo made $20 million last year sitting with a clipboard. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's funny. There was something else I wanted to get to with you guys tonight, but I can't remember what it was. Forgive me, I've got a brain fart. Where was I? Bubba Baker will follow us? It's possible. The great thing about the draft is you don't really know. Law of Nation isn't coming tonight because I've actually got to get ready to get onto the Benet Emery show here in 3 minutes because I've got to talk to them. You're going to hear some of the same stuff we've already been talking about. Is it about the contest? The contest, there's actually a great contest that's being worked on as we speak. It has not been released yet by the NFL and United Way, but it's something that you guys should definitely try and do. And I'm going to tell you guys a little secret here. When you see a lot of these Super Bowl contests and things like that, enter them. You'd be surprised at how few people actually do enter these contests and stuff. Trying to remember what year it was. About 3 years ago, it was where you're basically sending your video about why you love football. There were less than 3,000 people that entered that. In the first year, they had 50 winners. Your odds of winning are actually pretty damn good. If you buy a lottery ticket, you should try and do these contests because there are really, really great odds. Because most people look at it and say, oh, I'm not going to bother it. I'm going to get spammed to death and things. I know of one contest that was a Super Bowl contest that had less than 50 people that entered it with 2 winners that went to the Super Bowl. So when I tell you guys about contests to sign up for, try out, I'm not telling you that you should, but I'm telling you that you should. So that's just my little FYI for you guys. Okay, Butler, well, you just got to grab a hold of Jobu and just say, hey, I need to keep me healthy. Well, things are rolling through so quick, I can't keep up with them. Law will be here on Friday, I'm pretty sure. Although he's got a baby and things, so we never know with if he can get her to bed or not. Charles Harris, yeah, I don't think he'll be there that late. Thank you, Craig. Texas T. Oh, I'm not a big fan of getting Revis. Texas T. Sorry, I think he's done and old, just looking for a big fat paycheck. I have a friend saying the team will be average next year. Can you give me thoughts about what we need in the draft? What we need in the draft, we're going to need a cornerback. Okay, I've actually got to call in. Oh, man, I'm late for calling in. I am late for calling into the show.
Or even think to raise his hand to me, but I know that I think I would scare myself if another man did do that to me, because I would probably wait until he was asleep to do something to him.
But see, like I tell people, I never received counseling behind this. So if someone would do that to me again, I would lose my mind.
Right. And I always tell people that I have a Michael Myers knife in my house.
What the what?
I'm looking at Mark's face when she said that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back to our topic. We'll come back to more Shadow Love. We'll come back with more unique. We'll come back with more Lucretia. But it's time for our sports segment.
Mark.
Shout out to my main man, Mark Holmes. What's going on, Mark?
Man, I'm glad I heard about the knife. I'm gonna stop hiding out in the bushes now.
Hey, she's killing us.
I mean, damn. She said a Michael Myers, not just a knife, but a Michael Myers knife, man. Wow.
You heard me?
Oh, man.
So wait a minute before you get started. I don't give a shit about car leaving. Let somebody. I'm glad he goes to Baltimore and toast his ass up north. Now, seems like that at first it was our linebacking core and our defensive line that was a priority. Is now secondary a priority.
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I want to dedicate this show tonight to my good friend Richard, whose mother passed last night. If you have somebody you're close to, friend, family member, loved one, tell them that you love them, because time is precious. They just found out that she had cancer back in January. You wouldn't say there was anything wrong with her, and she's gone now. So, you know, if you got something to say to somebody, be sure you make sure you say it to them now, so that way you don't leave any doubt. Now, on to our Dallas Cowboys and all the free agent losses, and everybody is about ready to jump off ship because, you know, we lost Brandon Carr, we lost Morris Claiborne, we lost J.J. Wilcox, we lost Church. Now,
who's left?
Oh, we got plenty of guys still left, but here's the thing. Did you guys happen to watch the Green Bay Packer game? You know, in the playoffs?
When they played who? Atlanta? Or?
No, they didn't play Atlanta because they couldn't get past Green Bay. And it wasn't exactly a Green Bay that was healthy. Their best receiver, Jordy Nelson, didn't even play in that game. They were beat up, banged up, and everything else. We couldn't stop them on third down. Okay, so let's look back at Brandon Carr. At Morris Claiborne. Morris Claiborne missed 33 games in his career. The guy we gave up a first and a second round pick to get. 33 games out of 88, okay? He played great for 7 games last year, but guess what? It's a 16-game season. So we got rid of, let the glass man go. He got $5 million with the Jets. God bless him. I hope he enjoys it. Brandon Carr played every game, always was healthy, always consistent, but could never live up to that $50 million contract, okay? J.J. Wilcox, I would have loved to have kept, but that's just way too much money. And Church, same thing.
Now, that broke my heart when he left.
But, you know, I can't blame these guys for getting paid. When you look at guys like Dwight Clark that now has ALS, you better get as much money as you can, because this is all you're going to get for the rest of your life. So I ain't mad at him. Now, if we had a defense that couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers, as I'm watching that tape, there's plays there, his chin strap isn't even buckled up. I can lose with you. I can certainly lose without you. So I'm ready to move on. Now, we do have Byron Jones is playing safety. Jeff Heath, I'm not sure he's a full-time starter, but he did get 2 interceptions there in the playoffs. You've got a rookie last year who will get better just because he's not a rookie anymore. And you have Orlando Scandrick, who I still think wasn't quite healthy from the knee injury the year before. And we still have the draft. Carroll, I think Carroll will be a good 5th down corner. I think he was in the wrong system where he's not really a press cornerback that they played in Philadelphia. He is more of a zone, which is what we do. So I think he'll be definitely better than he was in Philadelphia. But with us basically taking our whole offense and we basically kept it all together. We're going to need to get a tackle because Doug Free retired. They're looking at, we're good right here. We're still a top 5 offense with the pieces we have. Now we can focus in on the draft. We've got some good parts to go in there. Let's see what we can get, be it a defensive end, if that's the first thing that's there, or if it's a cornerback or a safety, that they've set themselves up to be pretty good there. At least that's my thought.
All right, Mike, well, you're the genius, ladies and gentlemen.
Genius. I don't know about that.
I know.
I see the sign, though.
No, I see. Hold on. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Mark is broadcasting live on his YouTube channel. Be sure and go and follow Mark on and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Be sure and subscribe to the Name Show YouTube channel. Mark has not been wrong in the 3 years he's been on the show. He picked Dak Prescott. He picked all these different cats, and he has not been wrong yet. So if you want to bet your bottom dollar on something, bet the Mark Holmes.
Okay, this is for entertainment purposes. I'm not like trying to get anybody to lose their house because of what I say. But we'll also be at the draft, so we're going to be doing some live streams from there. We'll be doing interviews and stuff, and we'll bring you up to date and everything else. So I'm excited about that because we're a little over 5 weeks away to see who we're going to have for our Dallas Cowboys next year.
Who do you think that they're going to try to pick up?
Well, we're going to start working on that next week. We're going to start getting you the guys that we think. I mean, we're definitely going to be looking at defensive end. It's so hard, and I don't like to do a lot of mock drafts because you just never know what the run's going to be. And generally speaking, most of the mock drafts are never anywhere close to being right. It's just more for fun than anything else. But I'm going to give you the players that I think the Cowboys should go after if they're available.
Your fantasy list next week.
I'll have my fantasy list next week. Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, Mark, tell folks, are you done?
I'm done if you're done.
No, well, I'm just saying, well, I don't want to cut your time short, but tell folks how to get in contact with you.
Well, definitely every Monday night here on the Benet Emery Show. And, of course, check out my YouTube channel, Mark Holmes, or if you go ahead and hit CowboyJobu, it'll come up just as well. And, of course, on Facebook, CowboyJobu. So that way we can keep you up. We do daily videos and stuff about what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys and things. And, of course, all the different stuff with Zeke Elliott because it seems like he is TMZ's favorite guy right now because
some drunk kid having fun. He ain't raped nobody. He didn't grab him in the pussy. Just leave him alone. Yes, he's the star running back of the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, he's having fun. And she didn't look like she was too bothered about him showing her breast. She probably wanted him to do it. So,
well, I think
that's okay, man. I don't know. I just assumed that.
Well, no. Like I said, there was actually 2 videos, and it was funny because ESPN had put it out. And I'm sitting here watching it, and my wife actually picked it up because you're focused in on the one woman whose boobs are out. But what you don't notice is the woman who's standing right behind her, she's pulling hers out and popping them back in. So we only saw a 15-second clip. We don't know what was going on this whole float thing. This whole float might have been peekaboo. So boobs might have been just popping in and out and everything else, and he was just going with the flow.
Was this at the St. Patrick's Day thing or Mardi Gras?
The St. Patrick's Day thing, but it looked more like Mardi Gras to me because everybody's got beads and everything else. And to me,
St. Patrick's Day thing.
You know, I'm okay. Not to go back into that whole thing, and again, he shouldn't have been in the situation. But she's going like this and then pointing at him. It's kind of like, oh, you want to see him? Then get him to do it. To me, that's what the gesture looked like to me. And you don't know if she'd been popping him out before this time or not. That's just my take of a possibility scenario. Don't send me any hate mail. Send it to Benet Emery on this, okay? I'm just trying to give you an alternate theory of what was going on. But I know that her boobs weren't the only boobs that were out there that day.
All right, Mark. Well, shout out the boobs. Shout out the boobs.
Shout out the boobs. All right, then.
Same time, homie.
We'll see you then, and we'll have our fantasy picks next week.
All right, bro.
All right, so that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years, the Benet Emery Show, and it's been actually pretty cool. Actually, it's kind of cool the whole way I got on there. A lot of people ask me, why do you have the doll? And the way it started was really a Facebook joke because it was something different and all that. It was Flat Stanley. But a lot of crazy things just seemed to work out with him. And sometimes I kind of scratch my head and I kind of look at him with a side eye because the fact that I'm here talking to you guys is actually kind of a miracle because growing up, I couldn't talk in public. I used to stutter, believe it or not. Now, I kind of stutter a bit if I've had too much rum. You guys have noticed that I'm a little bit tired. But I could not speak in public. But for whatever reason, it's no problem once I had Jobu. By accident, I got a 4-hour layover in Dallas. Met a Facebook friend, Brian. Brian is so funny because he looks like a guy from ZZ Top. And if you saw him on the street, you would say that is a straight up redneck, and you wouldn't talk to him. One of the nicest people you'd ever meet in the world. Him and I went over to the Cowboy Stadium, did the tour and stuff. He had some barbecue and things like that, hung out for a couple hours, and I flew on to California. Jobu to Benet. Benet was like, man, that guy knows what he's talking about. I got to get him on the show. So I started doing the Benet show. And the first couple of shows that I did, I was scared to death. I was going, the guys, that's literally how it was. But through the course of time of doing this, that it's gotten really easy just to be me and talk. And this thing has just continued to grow and grow and grow. But things like at the Super Bowl this year, I originally wanted to get on the set for Mike and Mike because Dak Prescott was to be there. But you had to get in line literally at 2 o'clock in the morning. We had an event that didn't end till 11. And so I was there looking at 2 hours of sleep and then getting up and going down there. And it's like, that ain't going to happen. So I drove down saying, maybe I can get a chance to see Dak Prescott. And I literally got there 10 minutes before he came through. Got a couple pictures of him and things. I didn't get a chance to actually talk to him and stuff, but I was pretty close. But what was funny is there was a line for first take that went around the building. And I had a Jobu follower who was like, I know Jobu and stuff. We're sitting there talking. Next thing I know, ESPN is pulling a whole group of us all around to be part of the intro for the show. Now, all these other people have been waiting in line for hours to get there. Me and Jobu get swept up, and what happens? We run into Stephen A. Smith, and he gets hooked in. So it's things that happen like that that just kind of like, is it a coincidence, or does it something to that? Sean Lee seeing Jobu and saying, I love this. Can I take it home? And says to him, Jobu, I need you to stay healthy. Now, again, I don't think that anything, that it was Jobu, but coincidence? He stayed healthy, been at 2 Pro Bowls, and turning into one of the best linebackers in football. 2014, in Tony Romo's locker, recreating that scene, it's very bad to steal Jobu's run. 2014 was his best season of his career. Like I said, I'm not saying that those things are because of Jobu, but it's like sometimes I just kind of go, never had any bad luck anytime Jobu's been there. So Stephen A. Smith, okay, well, back to that. That goes back to where I was trying to prove about TMZ. Stephen A. Smith didn't actually hit Jobu. Stephen A. Smith was actually reaching out to fist pump everybody because he fist pumped everybody in the crowd. And what happened is Jobu's hand got caught in his sleeve and got thrown kind of sideways, and it looked like he punched him. So that was my spoof on the take of how TMZ and those shows will spin things to make it look worse than it really is. So that's where I'm trying to be funny and trying to make you think at the same time. Do I think Myles? Oh yeah, Myles Garrett is way out the picture. The only way we could get Myles Garrett would be basically a blockbuster trade, giving up half of our draft. So that is definitely not going to happen. But guys, I don't know why it is when I'm with you guys that time flies, and it is going on 10 o'clock already, and my ass is tired. So I need to go ahead and end tonight. We'll be back on Friday night. We'll have Law Nation in the house. We're sure that the Dallas Cowboys will, as Joe disagrees with Skip Bayless quite a lot, because Skip Bayless is a flip-flopper. Skip Bayless said that the Dallas Cowboys made a mistake by drafting Dak Prescott when they first drafted him. And we all know I was in the tank for him then. But anyway, we are going to jump out. We are going to go to bed, and we're going to see tomorrow. Again, I want to thank you guys for everything that you've done, all the subscriptions, for joining in and being part of the show, because without you guys, this would be nothing. And I want you guys to keep spreading the mojo. And I will see you here